There are habits that don't look dangerous at first. They feel normal, even responsible. But over time, they quietly change your heart. You don't lose direction overnight. You lose it through habits you refuse to stop. Habit 1. You keep negotiating with what God already made clear. It rarely begins with rebellion. It begins with hesitation. That moment when something is settled in your spirit, and instead of moving, you start reasoning with it. You knew what needed to be done, but you postponed it. Not because it was unclear, because it was uncomfortable. You told yourself timing mattered, that waiting was wisdom, that you didn't want to rush something spiritual. But delay can look spiritual while still being disobedience. 1 Samuel 15:22 says, "To obey is better than sacrifice." Saul didn't refuse God outright. He adjusted the instruction just enough to live with it, and that adjustment cost him authority. Hesitation trains your heart, and the longer your heart practices hesitation, the harder it becomes to respond when obedience actually matters. Doors do not always stay open while you process. Some doors close quietly, and they do not reopen just because you finally feel ready. God is not angered by questions. He is angered when clarity becomes negotiation. Obedience loses weight the moment it becomes optional. Habit 2. You protect comfort more than calling. You say you want more from God. More depth, more impact, more growth. But the moment growth costs you something, your pride, your routine, your image, you hesitate. When someone points something out, you don't explode. You just explain yourself. When God puts his finger on something small, you don't reject him. You just delay changing it. You want elevation, but you resist correction. And here's the problem. If you won't let God adjust you in private, more visibility won't help you. It will expose you. Comfort feels safe, but comfort slowly makes you smaller. And over time, you don't even realize you stopped stretching. You cannot pray for more responsibility while avoiding the small changes that prepare you for it. God is not holding you back. He is waiting for you to stop protecting what he is trying to reshape. Habit 3. You normalize what once convicted you. This is where drift becomes dangerous. The first time something inside you tightens, you feel it clearly. You know something isn't right. The second time it feels easier to ignore. You tell yourself it's not that serious. After a while, you stop noticing it at all. Romans 6 asks, "Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound?" By no means. Grace was never meant to make compromise feel safe, but what you repeat starts to feel normal. And once something feels normal, it stops feeling dangerous. You don't fall away loudly, you drift quietly. And the most dangerous place to be is not rebellion, it's numbness. When something that once bothered you no longer bothers you, something deeper has already shifted. God isn't angry because he wants control. He's angry because he sees where this ends, and you don't. Distance doesn't usually announce itself. It grows where conviction used to be. Habit 4. You only seek God intensely when something breaks. When life feels steady, you move as if you are the one holding it together. You plan the day. You chase what needs to be done. You absorb the pressure. Somewhere in that movement, you stop asking whether he is directing any of it. Then something shakes. A conversation shifts. An opportunity closes. Anxiety shows up at night. Now prayer feels urgent. Matthew 6:33 says, "Seek first the kingdom of God." First does not mean after the damage. It means before the decision. God is not offended by crisis prayers. But when dependence only appears after collapse, it reveals something deeper. You prefer control when things feel manageable. It doesn't feel like rebellion. It feels like competence. And that's why it's hard to notice. The longer you build without consulting him, the harder it becomes to recognize when you are no longer walking with him. Distance settles in quietly, and by the time you notice it, you're already exhausted from carrying what was never yours to carry alone. Habit 5. You give access to voices that dilute conviction. You felt something clearly at first. There was no confusion. Then you started asking around. Advice is not wrong, but sometimes you are not looking for wisdom, you are looking for agreement. You want someone to tell you that the step you're avoiding isn't necessary. Proverbs says, "Walk with the wise and become wise." The voices you listen to eventually shape what feels normal to you. When you keep entertaining perspectives that soften truth, clarity begins to blur. God's voice does not disappear. It gets crowded. And once conviction feels complicated, obedience feels heavier than it should. What used to be simple now feels exhausting. Confusion is rarely random. It often comes from too much input and not enough quiet. Destiny requires discernment, and discernment dies in noise. Habit 6. You crave increase but resist preparation. You talk about wanting more influence, more responsibility, more impact, but you don't always want the hidden discipline that comes with it. The assignment in front of you feels ordinary, repetitive, unseen. Luke 16:10 says, "Whoever is faithful with little will also be faithful with much." Faithfulness rarely feels impressive. It feels small. It feels routine. But what you do in private determines what you can carry in public. If God trusted you with more right now, it wouldn't elevate you. It would expose what you haven't dealt with yet. More influence doesn't change you. It reveals you. Sometimes what feels like delay is protection. Not because God is withholding from you, but because He sees what more would amplify. God is not slow. He is careful. Because if He gave you more before you were ready, it wouldn't grow you, it would break you. Habit 7. You pray for protection but resist correction. You ask God to guard your future. You want favor over what you're building. But when correction comes, even gently, you defend yourself. Hebrews says discipline produces righteousness. Correction is not rejection. It is protection before damage spreads. When the same conflict keeps returning in different forms, it isn't bad luck. It's something you refuse to learn. Correction resisted does not disappear. It waits. And when it returns, it rarely feels gentle. God corrects what He intends to keep. If He stopped correcting you, that would be the real danger. Silence from God is not always comfort. Sometimes it's distance. Where you end up will not be random. It will be shaped by the habits you refuse to stop. Because what you repeat will always outrun what you intend.